This is high-speed chess. That's what you're watching.
What's going on, my guys? Today we're back on Inside the Ring, right? And I'm like the fifth guest on the show. I feel like I'm just a part of the family. Every time there's an episode, I feel like I have to make some sort of video, you know, kind of debunking it or whatever the case may be. Anthony Joshua, is he a Hall of Famer? Shady McCoy makes his case. I'm going to make mine.
Of no shade
right
with Shady McCoy. Shady, I know you're not just hating. You're just keeping it a buck,
Listen,
right?
You know me, Max, for a long time. And one thing I do, I always keep it 100.
Yep.
So no shade intended. But yeah, I mean, I guess you waiting to see who he fights next.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. When I look at his resume, it looks funny in the light. Let's just start with this.
So all shade intended, right? Let's not be disingenuous. We're talking about Anthony Joshua fighting next, and we're bringing up his resume. Why are we bringing up his resume? We're just talking about who he's fighting next. So let's start with the no shade. All shade intended, right? We could just sit here and admit we're grown men. You don't like Anthony Joshua. Let's just keep going.
So he gets his title against Charles Martin. Now, I don't want to talk about these brothers, right? But Chris, you've been in the ring with these guys, and is it safe to say that probably Charles Martin's probably the worst heavyweight title holder of all time as a heavyweight?
I don't want to say the worst, but the fastest, one of the ones that like didn't really earn it the way most boxers do. Didn't knock the guy out, didn't win a decision, so one and done kind of a guy.
Okay, and Charles Martin was never champion. He was a sanctioning body belt holder.
Right. So that's one part. Then the second part is like, okay, you know what, Sean? Let's think about who did he beat? Because that matters in sports. Who did he beat?
Okay, let's talk about Charles Martin. Anthony Joshua won the title at 23, 24, maybe very young. But a title's a title, right? When you're coming up in the ranks of boxing, let's not act like, you know, Alexander Usyk immediately fought Briedis or Gaziev for his first world title, right? He did fight a Krzysztof Glowacki, who was still a pretty good fighter. But let's not act like, you know, every fighter, we got a great fighter in Abdullah Mason coming up on November 22nd in Riyadh. He's not fighting Tank Shakur Loma. He's not fighting a Teofimo Lopez. He's fighting a guy who's never even fought a 12-round fight in Sam Noakes, a guy we would not be mentioning if it wasn't for this world title fight coming up, which is a vacant world title fight. There's nothing wrong with that. As an up-and-coming fighter, what's wrong with fighting anybody, right? If it's for a title, it's for a title. I don't know why we're holding that against AJ, but other stuff we don't hold that against certain fighters.
Yep.
And when I look at it, okay, he beat Klitschko, who was really, really, really good and well respected. The brother was 41 years old.
Mm-hmm. He was still pretty good at that time. He was not at his best, but he was still pretty good.
I thought 41. I thought he was a great fighter on the night he fought Anthony Joshua.
Yep.
But what about the night when he fought Tyson Fury, though? Because he came off a loss, and then he fought Anthony Joshua.
He lost a very boring fight against what turned out to be an all-time great heavyweight. Mm-hmm. He lost on points. The difference was Joshua got off the deck to knock him out.
That's great, but he was 41 years old, and that matters.
True.
Okay?
That's true.
And if you watch the fight, it matters.
I agree. That does matter. Being 41, that matters. We just can't look past that. 41 is 41, but Vladimir, not Vitaly. Vladimir Klitschko's 41. Exceptional, outstanding, brilliant, right? Excellent, beautiful. He's a beautiful guy right there. When you take a look at a Sugar Ray Leonard 41, he couldn't make it, right? I don't believe Sugar Ray Leonard made it to 41. Muhammad Ali, take a look at Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson. I don't think they could make it to 41. Even when they were 33, not Leonard. Leonard was still spectacular at 33 from what I know. But Tyson, Ali at 33 weren't that great. Ali slowed down, Tyson slowed down. My point being, fighters age differently. Vladimir Klitschko at 33 was, you know, fighting like he was 23, 24 still. So Vladimir Klitschko at 41, you can't compare. You can't just say he was 41 because Better BF turns 41 in January. I have Better BF 5th on my pound for pound. I have Better BF arguably the best light heavyweight of all time. I think he still has a good chance at beating Bivol and stopping the guy in Benavidez. So age is cool. I think the best thing is context. Context is even better.
Layoff.
Okay, let's go to another
Not
point.
everyone's 41 is the same 41 also.
But
Klitschko's 41 was different from his career.
This is not Cops Corner. This is no shade.
Thank you. Don't tell on me, informant. Okay, the next thing we'll talk about. Okay, so he did beat undefeated Joseph Parker.
Yep.
And you know he's one of my favorites. So
Yep.
I give him a check for that.
Yep.
Boom. But then you fought Andy Ruiz, and you lost.
Yeah. Not Louise, Ruiz.
I said Ruiz. I said
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so, you know,
we have the tape. We'll play that.
Louise, yeah.
Later in the show, we'll play that back. But go ahead.
Anyway, so you fought Andy. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you lost. A heavy set Andy.
Yeah.
Came in there, he was the super underdog and got beat on.
But
And he
Andy's
dropped him
heavy set.
hard.
Like a
So
Dropped Andy Ruiz hard, too. Give him a little credit for that.
Okay.
Drop him.
And won the rematch.
Can we give Andy his credit? He whooped on him.
And he gets credit.
Okay.
How's
Hurt him.
Ruiz? How's Andy Ruiz as a heavyweight?
Yeah,
You
he's
fought
pretty
him,
hard. And he has fast hands.
and he throws
Yes,
combinations.
he
Yeah.
does. But
He's great
good.
combinations.
Listen, okay, but that's what I'm saying. Andy, we love Andy. We love Andy.
Yeah.
But he's a good fighter. Let's just put him right here. Because we talk about somebody supposed to be Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Andy Joshua, correct?
Okay.
So let's stick there. Because Andy's not that. He's a good fighter, right? Cool.
Yeah.
So then you get a rematch. And the brother comes in there even heavier. And you win that fight. Ever since Andy...
Didn't look great either. Just outboxed him a little bit. Yeah.
ran
Okay, we'll talk about Andy Ruiz for a second. Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, 2019 unified titles. AJ's first fight in the U.S., I believe. He gets stopped. Yeah, as a heavy favorite, he got stopped, and you know that is what it is. I really want to touch on this one later, but Andy Ruiz, he's always been heavy set. He's always been, that's his build. He's like Tyson Fury. That's his natural build. I don't want you guys to look at the build and physique of an Andy Ruiz, Tyson Fury, and try to neglect they're sneaky athletes, right? You ever been in school and you got that guy, he's a bit chunky, you got a bit of looseness around the hips, but he's like, yo, that guy's pretty athletic. That's an Andy Ruiz. Now in the rematch and everything past that, I think he did lose his drive, he did lose his hunger, but Andy Ruiz wasn't a bum. He wasn't a bum. But yeah, AJ should have won that fight. I don't think that just boots him out of the Hall of Fame or anything. It happens.
That was kind of we never really have seen AJ the way he was pre-Andrew Ruiz since then.
So all I'm saying is, since Andy put them hands on him,
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever recovered from that. And then when you look at his resume, it looks funny in the light.
Yeah, I don't think Shade is
It looked
shading here,
funny
guys.
in the light.
I don't think this is shade. I think Shady's just telling the truth. Anthony Joshua is an interesting case as a Hall of Famer. I would say yes because I think boxing, there is a commercial element to it. But in terms of pure resume, no. But let me tell you my actual case for it. Okay,
'Cause I got some more for you. So go ahead.
When Joshua knocked out Klitschko, the guy
Whoever runs the production for this show, shame on you. Anthony Joshua has done a lot for boxing. He's done a lot for the heavyweight division. He's done a lot for his country. And Anthony Joshua has done a lot for the Ring magazine and Turkey Al Sheikh's Riyadh and everything. And the fact that we're talking about, is AJ a Hall of Famer? And you bring up one of his lowest points of his career, shame on you. Shame on you. That's disgraceful. That's disgusting. You wouldn't do that with Ali. You wouldn't do that with Holyfield. You wouldn't do that with Tyson. You would show Holyfield stopping Riddick Bowe. You show Holyfield beating George Foreman. Why aren't we showing AJ beat Ruiz? Why aren't we showing AJ give Usyk a tough fight? Why aren't we showing AJ beat Parker? Why are we showing, dog, shame on you. That's disgusting.
Tyson Fury won the lineal championship from, he beat Klitschko more convincingly, more decisively, because it ended in a knockout, than Fury had.
Yep.
And in Fury's absence, who had all kinds of problems and stepped away from the sport for a good long while, a consensus formed around Anthony Joshua that he, now in Fury's absence, is the heavyweight champion. Not just because he knocked out Klitschko, he then beat Joseph Parker.
I respect that, right? But then we keep digging, because like one thing is when you dig, okay, no, we gotta keep digging. Let's keep digging.
Keep digging.
So then Usyk comes, shows up, right?
Okay, yep.
We know how that went.
He gave Usyk 2 very tough fights.
Let me say
Yes,
it again.
He didn't win.
Listen,
I disagree with Kopic. He gave Usyk one really good fight.
We're talking about an all-time great in Alexander Usyk. Joshua gave him all he can handle twice.
Yeah, but there's going to be an L after all that. You just
It's an L.
Cool. 2 of them, though. 2 of them.
Yeah.
Am I missing somebody?
Good win over Dillian White. Dillian White on the way up.
Good fighter. Yep.
Good fighter.
Yep. That's a good win. I mean, it is.
A monster knockout of a solid fighter in Kubrat Pulev. It's a resume to me where it's accumulation. He
Then he beat Povetkin too. He mentioned Povetkin.
just accumulated a lot
Did AJ fight Zhang? I thought AJ fought Zhang.
of quality wins. I see what you're saying,
Chris,
Shady.
let me ask you this, Chris.
but
You
Real
never
quick,
won in the United States.
Oh, and you know how I feel about United States athletes. Anyway, if I start naming, because you did this at a high level, so I want you to tell me that. If I start naming these guys, I'm gonna say Usyk, I'm gonna say Fury,
Yep.
I'm gonna say Lennox Lewis, I'm gonna say all these great fighters. Can he even sit at the table with these guys?
No.
So when we talk about Hall of Famers,
He
what
doesn't
are we
beat Fury
talking?
now. He doesn't beat Fury now. So why are we even talking about it? Why is he even up there?
We're not gonna talk about the wall whooped up on him too, though.
I mean, let me.
No, I don't know about that.
Who whooped him?
He said Wilder would have whooped on him. I'm not
I
sure
don't know.
about
Like,
that.
that's hard
been a
to
fun
say.
fight.
That's really hard to say.
I think he said Dubois whooped up on him, but Wilder, that's a good one. That's a good one. 1920 before Ruiz, that's a good one. Both running full steam, just with all the confidence in the world for undisputed. Man, that's a good one. It really comes down to who lands first. I like AJ's odds of getting up more than Wilder's odds of getting back up. Well, AJ's more complete. I think AJ beats Wilder. Eddie Hearn and AJ sent him $100 million. He turned it down. That's a good one, though.
I'll say this. Boom Boom Mancini, who I felt was a little actually underrated by hardcore boxing people when he beat Jose Luis Ramirez convincingly and gave Arguello a great fight before he ever won the title against Frias. And, Boom Boom Mancini is in the Hall of Fame. His resume is not better than Anthony Joshua's. The reason Boom Boom Mancini is in the Hall of Fame is partly because of what he did inside the ring, which, as I said, I think actually has become a little bit underrated, and partly because he was a big deal. Like, everyone knows the name Boom Boom Mancini from that era. There was a song at a Boom Boom Mancini's fighting Bobby Chacon, right? Like that's part of his fame. It's not just the Hall of Excellence, it's the Hall of Fame. And Anthony Joshua is a dude who has put 100,000 people in a stadium. No, they don't all do 100,000. And he did it
a lot.
And he did it and knocked out Vladimir Klitschko.
Boom Boom, how old is he?
Yeah, but
How old is Boom Boom? He's
Now?
I'm saying he's probably like, wait.
He's old like him. So when I was 8 years old, Boom Boom was like 22. So
I don't know about Boom Boom, and I respect Boom Boom, but I know Anthony Joshua. I watched his career. I follow that. I'm a boxing nut, so I follow that. And when I look at Dubois, we see how that went. Did we not? Whooping up on him. Now, we don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame, nothing like that, right?
No, of course not.
So what I'm saying is, we got a lot of guys that's putting their hands on him a certain way that will never go to the Hall of Fame.
But there are guys like, for example, I mentioned Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson was
Okay. We could get to the bottom of all of this. Is AJ a Hall of Famer based off of Shady's metrics, right? Let's go off Shady's metrics, right? Let me swap out this keyboard and we could do some digging. I want to bring up a guy in Mr. Joe Frazier. Smoking Joe, right? He got that mean left hook from hell. Put Ali on his rear end. Oh man, Smoking Joe, right? Smoking Joe is heavyweight royalty. We hold Joe Frazier to such a high regard. Let's see if he passes Shady's criteria, right? So the biggest things was who AJ won the title off of, AJ losing to an Andy Ruiz, AJ losing to Usyk, and AJ losing later in his career to Dubois, right? So let's look at a guy in Joe Frazier. Maybe Joe Frazier does pass it. Let's take a look. So Frazier wins the title initially off Jimmy Ellis, I believe. He wins a vacant WBC title off Jimmy Ellis. Okay. He goes on, beats Bob Foster. He beats Muhammad Ali, the greatest, right? You know, it's a great win. You can't take that away from him. He loses to a Foreman. He gets dominated, stopped in two. AJ's never been stopped in two, right? He loses to Ali again, or he loses to Ali for the first time in the second fight. Never goes on to get the title again. And then he has the trilogy with Ali. He gets stopped for the second time in his career in the 14th round. He didn't get off the stool, I believe. And then he fights George Foreman again. He gets stopped in 5. So he's been stopped 3 times in his career. 3 times in his career, right? But he never had that Andy Ruiz type hiccup, right? So maybe you let him pass. Let's take a look at a guy in George Foreman, right? George Foreman, Big George. He initially takes the title off of Joe Frazier. Great. It's not a Charles Martin. He beat Joe Frazier for the title. That's dope. That's beautiful. Goes on. He gets stopped by Ali, right? So that's his Usyk. That's his Usyk. He got stopped, or AJ never been stopped. He never got stopped by Usyk. So, but he lost to a great fighter. That's equivalent to Usyk for AJ. And then he loses to a guy he's not supposed to lose to in Jimmy Young. Jimmy Young forced George Foreman to retirement. Right? George Foreman comes back at an older age. He never really fought in his 30s, really prominently. But he comes back at an older age, and he's losing to guys you would say he's not supposed to be losing to. Tommy Morrison, he lost to. He lost to Evander Holyfield, was a great fighter. I'm not saying he wasn't supposed to lose to Holyfield. My point being, if you go down the list, we could even do this with Muhammad Ali. If you go down the list and you try to see, or if you go off Shady's criteria, there's a lot of fighters who are Hall of Fame worthy who probably shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Even if we take a look at Ali. Ali wins the title off listing. That's beautiful. Ali then goes on. He's undefeated. He loses to Joe Frazier, right? A fight he realistically was not supposed to lose, right? I don't think anybody had Frazier to beat Ali at that point. I wasn't alive, obviously. But, you know, a fight he was not supposed to lose, right? He keeps going. He keeps going. He fights Ken Norton. He loses to Ken Norton, a fight he wasn't supposed to lose, right? He keeps going. Keeps going. When does he lose to Spinks? When was that? Lose to Spinks to 78. Lose to Larry Holmes. Lose to Trevor Berbick. Now, why does it Anthony Joshua get the same grace as a Muhammad Ali? You get what I mean? Why doesn't Anthony Joshua get the same grace as a Joe Frazier, George Foreman? So when Ali loses to Leon Spinks in 1978, we say, well, Ali was old, man. He was really old, right? When Ali loses to a Ken Norton, and when did he lose to Norton in 73, we say, man, Ali was old. Ali was really old at that point. When AJ loses to a Dubois in 2025, right? We say, man, AJ just not it anymore. We don't give Ali or AJ that same pass, right? Let's see. Muhammad Ali. When was he born? He was born in 42. So in 73, he would be what? 31? Is that? Will he only be 31? 42. He was only 31. You guys get what I'm saying here. When he lost to Frazier, he was what? 29. He was 29 when he lost to Frazier, and then he was 31 when he lost to Norton. But we give him a pass because we said, oh, well, Ali was old, even though, how old is Anthony Joshua? I probably should look this up for this video. Anthony Joshua was 36. He lost to Dubois when he was 35. Okay. So Ali lost at 31 years old. He lost at 29 years old. He lost to Leon Spinks when he was, how old would he be there? 36. I'm going to tell you right now, even though AJ's 36, he's not losing to anybody on the level of Leon Spinks. But like I said, AJ does not get the same grace as heavyweights before him for some reason. And it makes me wonder, why do we hold AJ and the newer fighters to a higher standard than Muhammad Ali? It would make me fall under the assumption that AJ is perhaps greater than Ali, but we understand that's blasphemy, right? We understand AJ is not greater than Ali. I just want to understand why Ali gets the pass, or Frazier or Foreman or whoever gets the pass for being old or having a bad night, but when it's AJ, we hold it against him. I want to do a little bit more digging, right? That's what Shady calls it. He calls it digging. I want to look at most wins in title fights in heavyweight history. You're going to have your Joe Louis, your Vladimir Klitschko, whatever. Who joins this list? This prestigious list with Floyd Patterson, right? We say he's an all-timer. Anthony Joshua, 9 title fight wins in the heavyweight division, ties him for 12th, putting him 1 behind Evander Holyfield, putting him 1 behind a Joe Frazier, only put him 3 behind a Mike Tyson, right? Let's look at champions by age. Obviously, AJ wasn't a very old champion, but he was a fairly young champion. Not in terms of his age, but how quick he did it, right? We look at how quick did AJ become champion. He's 4th. He's the 4th quickest champion ever. 4th quickest. He became champion in just 2 years, 6 months. Also the guy Charles Martin, which he beat for the title. 2 years, 6 months. Right? When we look at where's it at? How many fights it took? AJ's 4th. It took him 16 fights. 16 fights to become champion. It took Ali 20. I don't get how a guy can find himself on these lists and we sit here and question his Hall of Fame status. That seems a bit crazy to me. So he's tied for 12th in all-time title wins. He's the 4th quickest in terms of fights, and he's the 4th quickest in terms of calendar years, months, and weeks. But somehow he doesn't deserve to make the Hall of Fame. Why? Because he got the title off Charles Martin, which, like I said, most young guys moving up are going to get their title off a guy in Charles Martin. 2, he had a bad night. Every heavyweight's had a bad night. Ali lost to a Leon Spinks. Lennox Lewis lost to a Oliver McCall. But when we bring up their Hall of Fame status, we don't bring up those fights. We skim over them. We say it was a bad night. He avenged it. Right? So when you say Lennox Lewis lost to a Hasim Rotman, but you say, bro, he avenged that loss. What do you mean? AJ avenged the Ruiz loss. He dominated Ruiz in the rematch. Or then you say, well, he lost to Alexander Usyk. Lennox Lewis never lost to a guy that was better than him. Ali lost to a Joe Frazier. Ali couldn't seem to capture Ken Norton's number. It seemed like Ken Norton kind of got the better of him in that trilogy. Look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, everybody Mike Tyson fought who was like a relative fight he lost to. Any great fighter, any Hall of Fame fighter Mike Tyson fought, he lost to. He got stopped in all 3 of his big fights in his career. And then later on in his career, he lost to a Daniel Dubois when he was 35 years old. But when Ali loses at 31, we say, well, he was a bit old at that point. But we don't give Anthony Joshua the same grace. Even when Ali was 36, he lost to Leon Spinks, the same age as AJ right now. I'm just saying, I just want some consistency, man. I just want some consistency. Put some respect on Anthony Joshua's name. Look, man, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.